Hi, and happy almost New Year's. Today, we're going to go behind the scenes. I recently decided to let my medical license go. Really big decision. Every doctor I tell them to, they're like, oh my God, why would you do that? So I thought, oh, I should do a podcast episode on it to really share because it's of interest, because it's a super interesting conversation, and because it also may help you as you get ready for 2026. So, for those of you who don't know, which I can't imagine, I'm guessing everyone who's listening is a doctor who understands. Medical licenses are what's required to practice medicine. I will be a doctor forever, but I'm only able to practice medicine while I have an active license. If I let the active license go, I can never practice again unless I want to repeat my residency, which everyone who's not done a residency knows none of us want to repeat a residency, right? Okay, so that is the bottom line. And then if we come back to my story, I fully left medicine 4 years ago. And I decided, I'm going to keep my medical license as long as it's simple. As long as all I have to do is fill out a form, send a little bit of money somewhere. Why not? So it's so easy to do. And then you just put it like on default, never have to think about it again. And up until now, it was really simple. Just fill out a form, do some fingerprints, send some money. That's it. This year was not simple or easy. It was literally an obstacle course. And there was multiple times I had to get fingerprints for whatever reason. Nobody could ever read my fingerprints. Like my fingerprints are disappearing. There were no places to upload documents. Documents weren't told of us. The documents changed. The rules changed. There's probably 10, 12 different discussions with the board. And they're like, it's been 4 years now. We really need someone from your last place of work to write in a letter and vouch for you. Everything was start and as soon as that happened, a big brick wall came up in me, and I was like, okay, definitely this is no longer simple and easy, so we need to really decide if we want to keep this anymore. This episode I'm going to teach you about is releasing my medical license, which means I can no longer practice medicine unless I want to repeat residency. And I promise you that's never going to happen. So I'll tell you about it. But what I want you to hear is for every woman physician leaving, or every woman physician listening, this is definitely not an episode that all women physicians should leave medicine. Absolutely not. Probably 99% of my clients are actively in medicine and they love their job. So whether you are going to be in the hospital forever or not, whether you love medicine or not, whatever it is, just keep going with what you love. This episode is about keep going with what you love and how to have more fun at work, whatever your work happens to be, even if it's retiring. It's not about leaving medicine. It's about loving how you're spending your time, either in or outside of the hospital. So for those of you who are hospital leaders who are planning to be 85 in the hospital, this is for you. For those of you who are just starting out in residency, who are like, oh my gosh, I want to have a long 30-year career, this is for you. For sure. And of course, for those of you who are on the edge of should I keep my license or not, this is for you. What we're going to talk about today is where to find the places in your life where you're tethered to outdated roles you don't want anymore. So it might be running a residency program you don't want to run, or it might be telling yourself you can't be a leader even though you really are ready to be vice chair, or it might be wanting to go part-time even though you always told yourself you would be a full-time leader. Today is about creating the most incredible life for you. And I'm positioning this talk specifically on January 1st, 2026 on purpose. So this could be the best year of your life as you have these new principles and perspectives and frameworks I'm going to share in this one episode. I'm going to use my life as an example. I'm going to show you the main obstacles I had and how I released them to get a decision that I love. And for me, the number one obstacle absolutely was fear. So fear tried to convince me, oh, just hold on to it, which every doctor friend I talked to was like, oh, you should just hold on to it. They're like, oh, that sounds easy. Go get letters, right? Go do all the things, this infinite chasing of things to keep the license. They're like, just go do it. And I could relate to that because my fear brain was loud too. My fear brain was saying things like, okay, but what if my husband dies and I have to support me, my kids, two college tuitions, all on my own? Fear was telling me, okay, what if he doesn't die? He gets disabled. And it's me supporting the family, two kids through college, and unexpected hospital bills. Some catastrophic decision. I'm gonna need a backup plan. And when the fear comes up, here's what I did. Here's what I suggest to you. Solve every fear problem with a strategy, with data. So, but the question, what do I do if my husband dies? I mean, that's not a silly thought. Husbands, people die, everyone's dying, and husbands generally do die before before wives. Like that's just biology. So we decided, okay, we're going to increase the life insurance. Even though we're both very healthy and active, we also know we're both going to die eventually at some point. So we increased our life insurance so that if either one of us dies, the other one is even better, like maybe even better well off, right? And I'm like, question, what if he's disabled and now I have all these things to pay, all these bills plus his unexpected like nursing expenses? We increased our disability insurance. Like these are good things our brain is concerned about. It doesn't have to stop our decision, but we need to make decisions that address these fears. Answer fears with strategy and decisions. I showed my brain, my coaching income it's been stable the full 5 years. I have, for 4 of those 5 years, made more as a physician coach than I did as a doctor. Nothing grounded in reality suggested I need a medical license for safety. And through getting coached, I was able to see it's actually safer for me to let this license go. Here's the next topic I want to bring up to you is that we want to find areas where fear is driving our life and look out for that. Bring that to coaching, bring some awareness around it because decisions made out of fear just generally create more fear. The energy we have to make a decision is the energy we create when we've made the decision. So if we're letting fear drive our life, we're just going to have more fear. If we want to find those areas. Where is fear, panic, judgment, insecurity? Where is that driving my decisions and creating just more of all of that? How can I intercept that? And instead of making more fear in my life, having more calm, peace, purpose, fun, intuition. Fear multiplies itself. Fear keeps you holding on to work you don't want, identities that expired decades ago, options you know you never want to do. Fear convinces you that maintaining something old, safe, familiar is safer than what's new. And when fear is leaving your life shrinks. This episode is about choosing expansion, joy, purpose, magic in 2026. Here's a part of doing this. The next lesson is to stop forcing yourself to like what you don't like. We spend so much of our lifetime trying to convince ourselves to be different, trying to like things we don't like, to trying to change who we are, to fit into rooms we don't belong in. It's so painful to try to make ourselves into someone different than we are. And it wastes so much time and energy. So, like, this phase of my life is not about changing me to fit into rooms I don't belong in. This phase of life is to allow myself to like what I like and then go after it. Instead of spending years trying to tolerate things that drain us, forcing ourselves to be the people who can handle these really harsh jobs, to the people who are to force ourselves to push through, work harder, sacrifice more, come in on more on Sundays, don't use our PTO. The real work is just allowing ourselves to see what we want. I mean, that's the first step. See what we want. And the second step is let us ourselves have what we want. It involves releasing what no longer serves us. And the releasing is what we're talking about in this episode. So for me, the career truth was I for sure love parts of medicine. I would never have had the career I had if I didn't love medicine. Like no one goes to medicine thinking I'm going to hate this and retire in 10 years. Not possible. I loved it until the moment I didn't. I loved it until I found coaching. And then I realized, oh, the medicine, the physicianhood, all of this was to bring me to this place where I could be a physician coach. It was only supposed to be an attending for 10 years. That's it. Can both honor, appreciate, and release it. And there was a lot of medicine that I liked before I knew coaching. And, and even now, I could say I could see where parts of me liked looking at glass slides, seeing something for the first time no one else had seen before, making a diagnosis nobody else knew in the world. I could know this. I could know exactly what's going on with the patient without ever having met them, looked at any labs. I could know exactly what's going on. This diagnosis could lead to this patient being cured or having a diagnosis of what chemotherapy they're going to be on, helping them make decisions in their life. Like how powerful, what an honorable, sacred profession. Loved that part. So creative. You could really think. And that part was, to be honest, like always a minor part of the job. The majority of the job was for me that I have really struggled with is the politics, the forced unpaid labor, the compliance trainings every year, how to wash our hands, how to sleep, like just all of the effort medicine made for us not to be burnt out that just made the burnout worse. Endless forms, documentation. I didn't love being yelled at as a grown woman, being yelled at faculty club, not just the only one, like just seeing my colleagues yelled at by bad bosses who are threatening to fire them. Didn't love the schedules that were never fair, they were always unequal. Didn't love that it was hard to make my own doctor's appointments. The favoritism, sexism, the kind of like opportunities that just went to the certain people, certain times. The exhaustion that came from always trying to be a good team player. None of that I loved. There's no part of me that wanted to return to that. And that was really important in making this decision. Here's a couple of moments of clarity. One was I was explaining to someone outside of medicine what this license means, who didn't quite get it, who didn't quite understand the gravity of, okay, well, if you let your license expire, you're done practicing medicine. So I was explaining it to her. Well, yeah, I could renew it like a driver's license, but unlike a driver's license, you go back to 4 years of residency where you are just uh working harder than you'll ever work in your entire life for almost no money. I was telling her how horrible, like, I had a great, by the way, this is nothing about my particular residency program. It was incredible, but I am not 20 years old anymore. I am almost 50. I am in menopause. I need to sleep regularly. So what was perfect for me in my 20s, like, would not work with me for me as I approach 50. So explaining to her, like, this would be torture. There's no part of me that would want to do this. I realized if I don't want to do the thing that I need to keep my medical license, I don't want my medical license because I don't want to do the thing. Like there's a vicious little circle there. If the idea of keeping the license, like I literally was having nightmares over this of having to go back to medicine. What a clear sign that going back is not a possibility I want to have. And as long as I have this license, I have the possibility of going back. And that is actually dangerous for me. It is not safe. It is very, very scary. The kindest thing I can do to bring me the most safety the fastest is to get rid of this medical license ASAP. I get recruited. Regular people reach out, especially when my husband was looking for jobs. They're like, well, could Christina come in and sign GI? Now I don't have to think about it. I can say, no, Christina cannot come in and sign GI. Christina don't have a license, right? It eliminates so much like little brain noise when I can see the safety is in letting this license go because going back to work is actually, going back to the hospital is actually dangerous for me. It's so not where my headspace is. Yeah, when I heard myself say I never want to repeat residency, everything clicked. I was like, then why keep this? Why even keep this? Why keep a license for an option I never want to make? For an option I never want to have. It just made no sense. It felt like a piece of dental floss attaching me to a life I outgrew, like something very tenuous, something very kind of like annoyingly strong. Like its present was felt, this piece of dental floss, to this life I didn't want anymore. It felt like the very last thread that connected me to my active physician career. It felt like it was time to be clipped. It was time to release it. So, how did I do this? Is I think there's an important step of honoring our past. It's really easy when we get to these kind of forks in the road to tell ourselves, maybe I shouldn't have gone to medical school, or maybe I should have done this long before. Why did I get the license to begin with? Or it become very easy to beat ourselves up and then we can't even tell what's up or down. We're just like drowning in all of these negative thoughts and we lose all perspective. That self-attack blocks every future transition. You can't release something while punishing yourself for ever choosing it. And there is no part of me that would trade like although I'm in a very different place now, a new season of life. That's not better or worse than anyone else's physician career. It's just like this is what is true for me. I deeply respect the time I was in medicine. It was a baller time. We had a ton of fun. We did crazy things. I mean, that license got worked out in terms of like, I don't think it was possible to write more books, papers, travel more. I was in Africa. I was in South America. I was hiking Machu Picchu with girlfriends. Like there couldn't have been a more fun and successful and vibrant career. I mean, it was just so much fun until I found coaching and then I realized there's something more fun out there. Okay, before I let me also tell you another breakthrough moment. Seeing myself through my friend Bonnie's eyes. So Bonnie is a new friend of mine and we've known each other for months and we meet every week. I did a whole a podcast episode on listening partnerships. She's my listening partner. If you want to create your own, check out that podcast. But she was like, Christine, I saw your Black Friday deal. I see you coach physician women. How'd you get to do that? How'd you get to work with physician women? So I told her my story when I was very burnt out as a doctor. I've hired a coach. It was incredible. My whole life changed. She's like, whoa, I didn't know you were a doctor. She said, most physicians, they can't help but tell you the doctor, the very first sentence is, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. And you've never said it in the months I've known you, not one time. How remarkable is that? So just her reflecting back to me and was really profound that, oh, she sees me clearly before I fully saw myself, that I never lead with being a doctor anymore. I lead with being a coach. I lead with the work I do now. My identity has actually shifted long before I left my medical license expire. The license expiring was the last thread in something that was already coming, which felt really, really beautiful and purposeful. So, what do you do when you have a big career that you honor and you celebrate and that you love, and also it's time to release for something else? Like there is a moment to insert some kind of ritual or ceremony. So for me, what came, and some people might have a funeral or celebration or go on a trip or write a poem or buy themselves nice jewelry, and maybe I'll do all of the above, right? But what came to me first, which has been really helpful as I'm like in the season of unbecoming, like I'm letting go of a lot of things that don't serve me anymore, is I decided what I've been doing all along is putting all of these beautiful, bold memories and all the rest, just kind of tying it up in this virtual metaphorical red balloon. Everything is in there, every paper, every case, every memory, every friendship. Put it in this red balloon. And I imagined thanking it for shaping me, honoring this balloon for this incredible life, and then releasing the balloon, releasing that little thread that tethered me to this red balloon and just watching it drift into the sky. And it felt really complete for me. Of course, along the way, before this balloon, there was some grief and some sadness. This was a big part of my life. It was really, really hard. It was a big part of my life. So proud of it. So grateful. And it really was required for what I'm doing now. Like I don't think it's possible to be a good physician coach without having become a physician first. I know they exist out there. I know universities often hire people with bachelor's degree, no doctor experience to come and hire coach doctors. I don't think it's great. I think there's a real sacredness in having walked the walk and knowing how to help people either stay in medicine and love it or leave medicine and love it. And so that dream, the first dream of becoming a doctor, was very critical, essential to the second dream. And honoring both was really important. New identity was letting the balloon go. It really felt like a cleanse, like a release. So notice I don't say I gave up medicine. I gave up my license. It's how you hear people talk about this, and none of that feels good to me. I didn't give anything up. Like it's not like I quit on myself or I quit on medicine. I was like, this was an incredible sacred time of being a physician, and that time is complete, and I can release it. I don't want a thread tying me to a life I don't want to live. I'm ready to release it. And when I do, I make up so much more space for this magical, enchanted, amazing life that I feel in my bones is heading to me in 2026. We are literally packing up our house to move to California. It is a rebirth for me. I am totally untethered to medicine. I never want to go back. I don't need a fallback plan based in fear to a life I don't want to leave. I don't want to hold on out of habit and fear and scarcity. I want to be continued. I'm already doing it fully in my coaching practice. Pays me more than my doctor's salary. Why would I want to leave it for something they don't love? That just makes no sense. But to be fully built in this life, fully in this life I've built on purpose. It doesn't feel like fear. It feels like fun, joy, magic. It feels like I'm playing. It feels like I'm 8 years old and I'm having the time of my life. And I want this for you too, whether you stay or leave medicine. So here's some journal prompts for you to do this work before your 2026 unfolds. First is go ahead and raise some awareness of where do you have a painful connection to an older identity to ties you to an option you absolutely don't want. Maybe it's this job, maybe it's a leadership role, maybe it's a marriage or relationship. Where is that floss tying you, that thread tying you to something you don't want? And you're holding on to it because of fear, because you think it's safe. Two, create an option that meets your needs for safety in an even more magical way. Maybe that dental floss thread is actually not safe at all. Maybe it's tying you to something dangerous. What would it be like to build out something strong and structured and supportive and full of magic and jelly beans? Three is write out what would the day-to-day details of your future life be? Imagine better than your wildest dreams. If you've clipped this thread and you've built this magical like castle structure full of all of your favorite things, what would your day-to-day life be like? And then four, create a ceremony to honor the prior identity that's brought you here, honor the decisions that shaped your identity, honor and celebrate all of it. And also, it's okay if it's time to let it go. In summary, as you step into 2026, here's the intention. Be grateful to the woman who got you here that's younger you. Never beat her up, never find fault with her. She was always doing the best she could with her current thinking and experiences. And to also be checking in with her because she will, from time to time, want to release something that's no longer lighting her up. And you get to help her release it and replace it with the version of you that's already coming alive, the version of you that's already in motion, the version of you ready to be realized in 2026. Releasing an identity that no longer is serving or supporting lighting you up is growth. It is not loss or failure. Honoring past decisions clears room for what's next. Honoring past decisions clears room for what's next. Letting go creates space for a future that's so much bigger and better than you could have ever imagined. And if you want help finding these painful identities, releasing them, and replacing them with something so much more magical, you have got to be my coaching program. We do this work every day. And you can join this week by booking a free sales call below. See you there. Bye.